This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about June 23rd, 2008. He's drafted to the SmackDown brand as part of the big draft. He's going to lose to Batista the next night in the main event, but it's by DQ. But unfortunately, some bad news is going to come his way in Johnson City, Tennessee on August 2nd. He suffers a torn PCL and he's going to be on the shelf for a little bit. We do see some promos in late January 2009 hyping his return. And when he does come back, he has a new entrance theme and he's going to defeat the veteran Jimmy Wang Yang. But unfortunately, Umaga then suffers his first defeat against Triple H by DQ on the March 6th SmackDown. Fast forward to May, and he's back after a 2-month hiatus. He's going to attack CM Punk on multiple occasions, repeatedly interrupting Punk's attempts to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. That sets up a match for Judgment Day. Umaga actually beats Punk here, but loses at Extreme Rules on June 7th from New Orleans in a Samoan strap match. And unfortunately, this not only ends their feud, but it's Umaga's last appearance in WWE. Before we talk about the release, let's talk about this run of bad luck, man. You tear your PCL over the summer, they hype up your return, you come back, you're working with Triple H in the main event. For whatever reason, you're on a hiatus. I don't know much about that. I'm hoping maybe you do. But then when he does come back, he's working with who's going to become one of the biggest stars in the company, CM Punk. A couple of matches here on pay-per-view and a Samoan strap match. Man, that's old school. But so was Umaga's style of work. I really liked it. And, I guess if you're going to have a final match in the company, a Samoan strap match with CM Punk on pay-per-view, that's, there are worse ways to have a final match, I suppose. What can you tell us about his run of bad luck here? The stops and starts and injuries along the way.
Well, it's a goddamn shame. It's unfortunate as hell. That's what I said earlier. Along the way, if you're involved in administration and managing talent, you've got to find a way to keep that talent balanced in light or in spite of the fact that they're on this string of bad luck. Some guys handle it and some guys don't. We know Austin handled it. Triple H tears his quad. He handles it. You know, Shawn Michaels, back injury, gone 4 years. He handles it. It's not easy, but it can be done. But you got to have leadership, you got to have positive motivation, and you got to maintain contact. So, you know, a lot of guys are hurt. You know, you think all these guys I mentioned, there's not a week went by I didn't communicate with them when I was in that role. That was my job, and I wanted to know that the office, quote unquote, was thinking about them. So it was just, you know, I said earlier, you worry about how the talent's going to handle this setback, because we knew that Umaga could heal from a torn PCL. Athletes have that happen regularly, seemingly. You know, the kid from Joe Burrow tears his ACL and his MCL and has some bone damage from that knee injury. It could happen to anybody at any time. How's Joe Burrow going to handle that with the Cincinnati Bengals? I suggest he'll probably come through it with flying colors. Drew Brees has 11 broken ribs. I didn't know he had 11 ribs. The quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. I suspect he's going to come back when he comes back, and he'll come back successfully. So some athletes have been able to do that, and some of them mire and get caught in the sludge, and they can't get out of it. It's like getting your feet stuck in quicksand. You got to lift them up and get out of that shit. But and Umaga had some issues with that, and because of his past issues, Vince just came to the end of his rope. And hey, look, nobody can blame McMahon for that. He did we've outlined the booking that Umaga had in the company, because Vince loved him. And he loved what he stood for. He loved the monster heel thing, all that stuff. And we were babyface territory. So, having that monster heel to work with those stud babyfaces was imperative. So I think that's kind of what that was, Conrad. I just don't believe that he didn't handle it well. there. And I think part of that was because of the self-medicating situation that he found himself in.
So as we said, the next day, June 8th, 2009, the WWE announces that Umaga has been released for the second time. This time it's revealed that his termination was due to a violation of the wellness policy. Even though it was only his second failure, the rumor and innuendo was his refusal to enter a rehab facility led to the dismissal. If you had that to do over again, would you do it any differently?
No, if you refuse help, then you're denying that you have a problem. And the denial is one of the bigger issues that you can deal with somebody with substance abuse issues, that they just won't admit they have a problem, or I can handle it. I got this. No, you don't have it. You've proven on multiple occasions now that you don't have it. So we got to get you some help. We want to help you. We want to help you rid yourself of this burden and get you back going. All the rehab was simply to get you healthy so we could bring you back and make more money with you. But, guys are in denial, and they look sometimes at going to rehab as a sign of weakness. I remember having long conversations with Jeff Hardy about that. And it came down to where I finally had to say, look, if you don't go to rehab, we're going to let you go. Maybe his pride was on the line, he thought, or maybe he looked at it made him look really weak that he had to go to rehab, but he refused. And so I did what we said we were going to do, and we let him go. Now, luckily for Jeff, he's rebounded. He's gone through he's clean and sober. Thank God. And look what that got him. It got him work in a nice spot, making a good living. And so we wanted the same thing, in a different time frame, but the same thing for Umaga. Let us help you get you well, and we're going to pay for it. So, and oftentimes too, Conrad, when we were doing those deals, and somebody had to get some help, they still got paid. You can't let them. You're not going to help their mental state by them worrying about paying for their overhead and their mortgage and their groceries and school clothes, their kids, et cetera, et cetera. That ain't going to help them. You're just piling, it's just, you're sending good money after bad. So most of the guys still got paid so they could take care of their families and focus on good health. But Eddie just refused to go to rehab. And I just think he felt it was just an overt sign of weakness, and he didn't want to be perceived as such.
It's a shame. I wouldn't be me if I didn't ask this. It's not like the company found out about this wellness situation between Sunday night and Monday morning. I assume this was Vince McMahon's old get the match in the ring. We've promoted it. We need to deliver it. And then we'll address these problems after the fact. Yeah,
absolutely. We advertised it. The public bought tickets on it. They've already invested. Our audience, our fans, our customers, if you will, have already invested in it. Let's get the match in the ring and then move on. So that's kind of what we did, and it created another payday for him. And nobody thought that for sure he wouldn't change his mind about going to rehab. It's not like you got to go to Timbuktu. I think he was living in Houston at the time, so there's facilities in Houston that he could have attended, been a part of, and got healthier. My vision was get him healthy, get him more aware of nutrition, and understanding what he should eat and what he should not eat, how he should train, how he should not train. Because now we know he's got a bad wheel, and yes, you can get it surgically repaired, but if it just kind of tips the hand that, well, maybe some of these ligaments, because of the size this guy is and how he moved, how he ran, the stress he put on his knees, so his joints, is this just the tip of the iceberg? You never know, but it damn sure could be. So, but I never thought that, he'd bought a nice home in Houston. His family was comfortable, it seemed like. And he was living around a lot of the other guys. Shelton was there. I think Mike Chioda might have lived in that area. There were others, I believe. But nonetheless, that little wrestling community in the suburbs. So it seemed like things were good, but why he wouldn't go to rehab, we'll never know the answer. But I think a lot of it was just he didn't want to be perceived as a weak guy.
It's a shame.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at savewithconrad.com.